Neocoom. You kind of smell like a baby, bro.
Is that good or bad? I'm a lifelong NEET. I've never had employment.
Never had employment.
Yeah, young men need to be more unemployed. A job is something that's so bad, you literally need to be paid to do it. Really, it's a form of cuckoldry. It's wage fundamental. If we abolish work tomorrow, there are people who would push a rock up a hill and then down again for literally no purpose. There are some people who are natural born slaves. I believe this.
One tangible piece of advice there: quit your job and masturbate.
It's all going away.
So, the camera and the people already know you. You're an illustrious, enigmatic, yet autistic figure on the right way. Your primary goal is the eradication of feminism and the absolute liquefaction of all hypergamists. How will we achieve these ends?
I don't think there are like 3 key ways. Number 1, young men need to be more unemployed because unemployment is I think, number 1, it's correlated with low testosterone. So when you're employed, you're spending really the majority of your dynamic energy towards something that isn't enhancing your survival. So you're doing things for people who are exploiting you, don't want the best for you, when you really should be, I don't know, like NEET maxing.
NEET maxing. Can you explain NEET maxing for the crowd? CEO's got to get everyone right, you know? So let's circle back on that. NEET is not employed.
Yes.
Education or training, right?
Training, yes.
Okay. So you're essentially doing jack shit. But it's Faustian.
In a way, but not really. For it to be Faustian, that would imply that you were giving up something to gain something.
Yeah. You were giving up being an employee.
But I never had that though. What do you mean? I'm a lifelong NEET. I've never had employment. Not once.
Never had employment.
Yeah, so I've lost nothing.
You were
given up nothing.
An employment version.
Of course, obviously.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that was clear for you.
I have been, I can say
I'm okay.
Why?
Unfortunately.
Why?
Due to pressure of the gynocracy.
Understandable, but how so?
How so specifically?
Yeah, I think, why would you succumb to gynocracy if it is a real thing? Why would you get a job if you have so much dynamic energy?
I think I realized my dynamic energy quite. Well, I'm not going to say late. I'm 22. I'm pretty young, but
it's over.
It took me a period. It's over.
It's over.
Yeah, I'm actually turning 23. I'm on. How old are you?
31. It's over. It's over.
Wait, but off the record, the editor can cut this out. Are you actually 31?
Obviously, yeah.
You're actually 31.
Of course.
Can you show me your ID? Not for the camera, but I don't believe you.
Actually, good. Better have
It's an open-ended.
That's a question to you. Yeah, why would you? Why would anyone
Why
seek
would
employment?
anyone seek employment?
But yeah, my issue is that in 2016, like I was the young radical, right? I was like pro-UKIP. I was like student politics. I was meeting Nigel Farage. I was going to save the West, and so were all my like Judd friends.
Yeah.
But then something happened. They aged. They got old, and they gained employment. Now, the first 2 things perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Once they got a job, all revolutionary desire gone.
Yeah.
All aspiration gone. Anything they wanted to save or achieve completely gone. Now all they want is just to preserve a status quo that they don't even really like. So, I don't know. I don't know why anyone would willingly choose that when it's the most spiritually cut thing you can do. It is literally, like you say, it's a Faustian. It's a Faustian form of suicide. You're giving up your soul and gaining literally nothing. It's no, quite literally.
To the nth extent.
And also, like, if you're a man, there's something a weird aspect to it. Because if you're a man, there's a weird submissive aspect to being employed. Because when you work, you generate money. But you also generate your boss money. So when you do labor, you benefit him more. He gains more pleasure from your labor than you do. So really, it's a form of cuckoldry. It's wage cucking. Okay.
I like how you use the full word it does, the full non-abbreviated.
Cuckoldry.
As opposed to what?
That's what to puffy.
Because this guy does have an eloquent vocabulary. He's got a smooth voice. So your day-to-day is roughly, and correct me where I go wrong here, wake up 4 p.m.
Yes.
We eat, I presume, some form of goislop, or no? You're a based primal raw diet, or goislop.
Well, no,
we do not eat.
The people who consume goislop are generally the employee, because when you're employed, you have time restrictions. You wake up and there's a restriction. You need to go to work. You can't do cooking. You can't be like ethically sourcing your food. So really, goislop. ethically for yourself.
Okay.
But yeah, the issue is that Goy slop is made for the employum because those are the people who are exploited to gain resources.
Okay.
And I don't know, if you're like a sentient human being, why are you giving your entire life to generate another madman? It makes no sense. You're literally transforming yourself into like a Sims character. A Sims character, which would be fine if society wasn't getting tangibly worse around you.
Yep.
If society wasn't actively collapsing, then maybe I could kind of buy into it. But like, you're an ethnic minority in your own country, and you're like, well, can't think about that, gotta go to work, you should be in prison. Or at least you should be dehumanized. Yeah, employed people really shouldn't be voting, in my opinion. I'm not even trolling, by the way. I genuinely believe this in Minecraft.
Is there any form of employment or any careers, occupations, one might say, that are personally ethical, as we discussed?
There are two categories, right? There are the employum and there are those that exploit them, right? So being a business owner, based. Being a millionaire, based. Billionaire, based. Being exploited by those people, not based. So I think if you're going to engage in the system, you should be the one doing the exploitation, because if you're submitting yourself to that system, you kind of deserve it.
What about the employees of the right books?
The employees that write books,
They're being ethically exploited, right?
we'll say yes.
We'll say yes.
We'll say yes.
We'll say yes for the camera. We'll say yes.
You know, my mom could die tomorrow, but as long as the GDP line goes up, you know, society on aggregate is improving, therefore things are getting better, and I actively need to believe this, right? I was taught this in uni, this is literally true, but like it's the most psychotic thing imaginable, because yeah, GDP is a measure of like labor, so the more people there are, the more labor there will be. The more employment there are, the more employees there are, the more labor will be done. So like, things must be getting better, so why aren't they? Is my question, right? If people who work do such great things for society, why is it getting only worse? And I don't know, I've never really had that answer. I think you should quit your job, be unemployed, and focus on, I don't know, saving your country, if you can. Or just masturbating, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter.
Okay, so we have one tangible piece of advice there that is actionable for all the viewers. Quit your job and masturbate.
Or don't.
Or don't.
No, because there are some people, it was Aristotle who said this, there are some people who are natural born slaves.
Yeah.
I believe this fundamental. If we abolished work tomorrow, there are people who would push a rock up a hill and then down again for literally no purpose. No purpose, no goal, no reward, but they would do it anyway.
And they would ask for a job too.
They would feel rewarded in doing so, and they would view you as being inferior for not doing that thing. These people are the employum. I think they should work until they die, but please, like, leave normal people alone, basically.
What do you feel about creative work? Like if you work really, really hard, really long hours for something that is, in maybe the Nietzschean sense or the Schopenhauerian sense, actually creating an artistic transcendence.
That's what I do. As an unemployed TikToker, that's literally what. Okay, so there's a job, which is cut, and there's work, which is what you want to do. Work is based. Jobs are cut. Because work is something you do for yourself out of your own excitement, which is epic. A job is something you do for someone else that a job is something that's so bad, you literally need to be paid to do it. I don't need to be paid to like advocate for mass deportations. They just need to be done, and that's a free thing I do. That's a free thing I do out of pure excitement because it's correct. Right?
Pure excitement.
No one needs to pay me to do that. I guarantee you, I'm hating for free. And that's correct.
Hating for free.
Yes. Hatred should be free.
And do you think of all the sources of motivation, hatred is a very powerful one?
Yes.
The best?
Of course, but yeah, hatred is a very valuable thing. What do you mean? You should hate certain things. You should. Like, love is not a universal thing. You should hate things that are trying to destroy you. You should hate things that are trying to impinge upon you. Some things should be hated.
Like this. If you play music too loudly in public, you should be promptly shot. Yeah? We can agree?
No, of course, because he is impinging upon me, and he doesn't care. And the issue is that if I confront him, I will be the one subject to like state violence, right?
Yeah. Or you might be slimed immediately.
Yeah. He can harm me, I call the police. The police will likely arrest me.
So we are here in Whitechapel.
Paradoxical name, really. Therefore,
This is
therefore
something-
3 times as good, 3 times the labor, 3 times as good, yes.
This is where there is maybe an intersection between something like Islam, largely third world ideology, and the West that we can learn from. What do you think about the authoritarian family type that we have in the West, which is, one man, one woman, bunch of kids, or some kids, in comparison to the more communitarian approach led by typically the father, or sometimes in Eastern Europe, a matriarch. Is there a moral reason why you wouldn't have more than one wife? Also, wait, let me pause this, because this is an interesting conversation. Do you believe in morals?
I think so, yeah, very vaguely. You don't?
I'm a
Wait,
Nietzschean.
what do you mean by morals?
I am LARPing as a Nietzschean.
Okay.
Yeah. So in my active LARP, might I pontificate, and where we might agree in terms of the employee stuff, is a lot of the arguments against immigration, against what we are literally actively experiencing right now, is that, well, this sucks for us. This is not a nice thing. And to the citizens, to the hard-working employee, right, this is a nuisance in their daily lives. I think that our change cannot be born out of empathy. And like you said, that hate is a much more powerful motivation. Maybe it doesn't have to be hate, but it could be a desire for something much more, for ascendance and for power and for being the ruling victor. And so if we're to take something like Nietzschean morality, it's like, okay, why are these people now dominating society? Why are these like effigies floating around of some other civilization? It's weakness. It's not that they necessarily directly came and aggressively conquered us, but the right frame would be that we must take it back forcefully and have no empathy in. It's not it doesn't need to be an externality in calculation.
Yeah. I think people say this. People say things like, well, if you do mass deportation, that won't make your life any better. Which is probably true. Like, yeah, if you do mass deportation, the GDP line will probably go down. There'll be disruptions, there'll be like weird externalities. That's probably true. But like, that was also true for like slavery in general, right?
EU finance technocrat to tap in here, who's pro-remigration.
I wonder what like framework like led to the status quo where one man can afford 4 wives, but normal people can't afford 1 wife. How odd. How odd. It's a weird thing.
Let's get bro in here. Let's get Angloid in here.
But also that is the I think the intersection between incel culture and like right-wing politics, because like in the Western world we're pursuing policies that pretty much ensure like male rights. We're ensuring policies that make sure that young single men really can't have a family. All the while, like simultaneously, we're pursuing policies where certain types of men have state-subsidized multiple families. Because, and I really like the dynamic, the like juxtaposition blows my mind. I don't really know why that is. I don't know who made that decision. That on the one hand, like normal men can't afford a family, but the state will subsidize other forms of families as long as they're from the global south. And it's like, I don't know, my neurons sometimes pop off. Sometimes neural connections begin to form that really shouldn't be forming.
It is an intersection, I think, in that, I'm cautious to say this, they present as having a more Nietzschean, self-centered, self-serving morality. That it's like, I am the man, I decide the right and the pursuance for my family and for my wives, etc., and I'll take what I want. Except Islam is incredibly universalist. They are very communitarian with their families and with their whole community of Islam. Like, they believe themselves to all be equal. And I think that this is something that we can learn and iterate on in the West, in that maybe their radical, maybe fascistic type of application of action is correct, but their belief in equality cannot carry over to us. We need to draw a clear distinction between, like you said, the ascendant, the aristocracy.
This is my fundamental issue, where the UK government is apparently like very anti-incel. It's very against things like state-subsidized wives, state-mandated girlfriends. But it's doing these things already. It's funding, like, we have state-funded wives already. We have state-funded girlfriends. Just not for you. Just not for you. If you're from this country, but if you're not from here, you can have a state-subsidized wife. You can have 4. And I don't really know why that is. Because you pay taxes, you should be getting the wife. But someone who doesn't pay taxes, they get it.
Okay, so you're, just a question.
Yeah.
Not to cut you off. Boom, tomorrow. We are leaders of the UK. Angloid is managing the borders, right? He's on domestic and foreign security. You are leading social rehabilitation. You are trying to create more families, and you're trying to bring this program forth. What are we doing to bring state-sponsored wives/girlfriends to young men? Is there a looks-maxing angle here? Like, is there maybe a eugenic angle here that only the well, okay, but we don't want to get too hypergamic here, right? Hypergamous. So Yeah, walk me through this. How would we implement this?
Well, how would you increase the birth rate in general?
The birth rate in general. Well, that would be very futuristic. I'm for. Have you ever heard something called like the abolishment of women?
Abolishment of women.
Yeah, have you ever heard of that? It's a bit of an esoteric concept. So,
It's esoteric.
So you would abolish women as a concept. So there would still be women. There would be people with like XY chromosomes, but the category of woman. Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing? Wow.
Like abolish them as a gender. I'm just curious. Abolish them as a gender, like
Esoteric.
like scientifically, or we?
No, the construct of woman. Because I think
Okay.
if you're a Western nationalist, you agree that it's kind of a weird thing that no matter how good
course
Western
you do.
civilization is,
Transgender left,
it will end if enough women collectively decide that we're not collectively horny enough to advance this civilization.
Collectively horny.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's not
So we
really
need to
a
make women-
sustainable thing.
That's a whole more horny.
I don't think the problem is that women being horny. I think women are horny. I think it's contraception that stops the sexual.
Yeah, no, it's the issue that like no matter how good your civilization is, no matter how much you can like reference the Romans, the Greeks, if enough women say that actually I don't feel like kids, your civilization ends then and there.
I agree, yeah.
That's a fundamental unfair thing, because well, they're half the population, but there's another half who maybe also have a say in whether or not like this should continue. And so I don't know. We need more control over like female reproduction, maybe via birth controls. Maybe like
pods.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe like maybe we have like Aryan like super soldier birthing factories. I'm trying to think. But when you say something like we're going to assume control of like reproduction, people like in their minds they imagine the Handmaid's Tale,
Yeah.
but not really. I think women aren't really afraid of the Handmaid's Tale. I think women collectively, they're not really afraid of like the Handmaid's Tale. In many ways, they fantasize about that. They're afraid of things like AI robots, sex bots.
Yeah.
That's what.
Because that would destroy hypergamy.
Yeah, no, because that poses a meaningful threat to like the gynocracy, like
Yep.
female collective power.
Yep.
Because once again, human population 50-50. One half totally in control of all reproduction, the other half completely out of control. And there's a fundamental power imbalance. I think we should be somewhat equalized. We should democratize the woman's uterus. We need to exteriorize it with with the help of Elon Musk. I don't know. Yeah, men should be able to like become single fathers by inserting like a coin. If you want to be a single dad, you should be able to go to a machine, insert like a coin, and a child will pop out. And I think that's the ultimate solution. I think.
I see. This is very interesting because I'm quite into the science of this. I am a big fan of genetic engineering. Like as far as the natural bounds of the world and of genetics will permit me, I have pursued create the greatest specimen possible. And then the problem is you can't just have like one and invest, right? You need like bing, popping them out.
What's interesting? Like the cycle of what's it when GDP is the highest social good, you need a perpetually rising population, right? So we always need more people. We need more slaves, you know. GDP goes down, imported, like it's a perpetual cycle of like birth to raise like a lion on the sharps.
Yeah.
It is anti-human, it's weird, and I'm not even sure why we're collectively doing it. I'm not sure who is individually benefiting from this. Like we need to divest normal human life from just churning out infinite people, you know. I think once you disincentivize infinite Indians, they'll probably stop being.
What do you think is the metric then we should judge civilizations on? Like us, are we succeeding? If it's not GDP, I think it should be modding. I think it should be the total genetic quota of.
That's valid. But I think not to be too cut, there is a fundamental value to like just being there is a fundamental value to being a single being. I think that's
Like this, also execution.
execution. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I got distracted.
Which is
Total
valid.
ADHD patriot.
You know, my issue is that like so like when you were growing up, so
He's a chef, I think.
oh probably is. So when you were growing up, were you ever asked, hey, when you grow up, do you want to have a job? Were you asked? Were you told?
I was told,
Were you
yes.
told, hey, when you grow up, what job are you going to do?
I was ordered by the.
Normativity, what job are you going to do? The normative assumption. So like, the assumption then is that like, there's a work and then there's your life.
Yeah.
Whereas I would reverse that, where there's your life, and then there's life, and then there's life, and then there's more life.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
And I feel like once enough people like begin like collectively realize that you will have
having a chat.
like a revolution. You will have a revolution.
Where'd you get this from?
See, we've been discussing this interesting concept lately that of all the Western countries, right? if we want to, let's say in the ideal country, the pirate utopia, we want to have a virile, beautiful, aesthetic, intelligent, genetic populace. Of all the countries, who is the most corrupt? Somewhere like Australia, we were talking about, great climate, lots of sun, very virile, and they have a lot of mining, wealth, good tech sector, great genetics. It would just take a couple hard years where you would just have to basically not listen to certain groups of people. You'd just have to say, hey, we're putting the gunocracy on pause. We'll revisit it later, right? And then you might have your pirate utopia.
I'd say, I suppose you can make the case for, to me, like, I think you could make the pro-deportation case without even being like markedly right-wing.
Sorry?
I think you can make like the mass deportation case without even being like markedly all that right-wing.
Yeah.
In my mind, is the case that's
Like politics, like Alex Carr.
yeah, no, of course. But the thing is,
He's not that right wing.
yeah, I think people have a right to exist, even if they're not economically productive. So like mass migration into the UK, that's done solely like to sustain GDP, because well, white people on default settings, they just don't work hard enough. They enjoy life too much. You know, they want to laze about in the sun. They're not raising GDP. Therefore, they need to be replaced. But like that replacement comes from an employment framework. It comes from a framework that like actually, if you're not productive, you don't really deserve to exist. We can really replace you for a better scenario.
Or do you think it's an emancipation problem? I think it's an extrapolation of an emancipation problem because previously in the UK, let's say in the 1800s, they enslaved their own people. And then they're like, fuck, we shouldn't really do this anymore. You get labor rights, worker rights, and it's more so the Prussians before the English, but you get then the concept of like universal-ish rights, like citizen rights. And then now, it's still, I think we would agree, slave labor. Like, oh yeah, I am rich, I'm whatever, I'm gonna order DoorDash, like literally Deliveroo right there. I would like a migrant to deliver me in this torrential downpour, some tacos. You know what I mean? That is slave labor. But the interchangeability is not there. It's all they have are some employment rights. What do you think?
I think I would mostly agree. What's one of the weird things to me that like the concept in my mind of you come to this country and if you do a job, you somehow become British. But me in contrast, like I am British. If I don't work, I don't become less British or American. If I don't work, I don't magically become less British. So how do you working then become more British? How does that work?
It's also with the values argument as well. It's like if you follow or adhere to these set of values, then you're British. But it means you don't adhere to tolerance or what's considered British values, well then,
I don't understand.
we.
It's also anti.
28 minutes.
It's saying that there's actually a correct set of values. And if you don't have those values, you're not British,
Yeah.
which is a fundamentally illegal concept. So it's incoherent. It's incoherent. But also it says fundamentally that citizenship means nothing, but your slavery does. Right? Your identity, that means nothing. Like I know my great grand. I know like if you have generations in a single place, you know where your great grandparents are married. That doesn't really matter. You are equally as British as someone who comes here and works at McDonald's for 5 years. And I can never really merge those two things. I don't know why we value employment so much that it supersedes everything else. And I think people need to liberate themselves from that framework. And we would have less of this, really.
It's all going away.
It's all going away. But it's not going away, it's being destroyed.